Hey everyone, I hope you guys are having a great day today. So in the last year or so, I've been basically watching the comments, and a lot of you have been asking me to make some class guides for you on how to get through the 3 difficulties and to get ready to start magic finding in hell mode. So in this series, I want to start with the Sorceress first because she's going to be the most popular class by far. She usually is based off the past of this game. So we're going to talk about basically what you want to do in each act, when you want to go to Nightmare in Hell, what builds you want to go to get through those pretty easily, what items you want to look for. There's a lot of things to kind of cover. So to summarize what this video will be doing is I'm going to make a character from level 1 and go all the way through hell mode, and I'm going to highlight exactly what I did. So if you're looking for some kind of general idea of what to do with your character right from level 1 all the way to Hellbale, this video will be great for you for the Sorceress, and in the future I will also have the other classes as well. So I hope you guys find this guide useful, and let's get into it. So the first thing you got to do before you even start the game is figure out what build you want to go. If you're sitting in town, take a look at all the skills, or if you're one of those players that just wants to pick one of the best builds possible, I will have that for you right here. The Static Nova build is by far the best Sorceress build early on, whether you're playing by yourself solo or with other players. Static Field is overpowered because it reduces the monster's current health by 25% with each cast, allowing you to kill anything in seconds, including bosses like Duriel and Diablo. All you have to do is slow your targets with a Frost Nova, static them down until they are 1 HP, and then finish them off with anything like a Charged Bolt or gas potions, and when you're level 12, Nova. This build is so good you can even solo 8-player games where monsters have more than 400% increased health, and it just makes this build the ultimate carry in multiplayer games. So if you're planning on joining public games, it's a great way to gain way more XP because you can basically solo them, and it just makes the game so much faster for everyone in your party. So I highly recommend the Static Nova build, no matter what build you're going to go on your Sorceress later, whether it's Frozen Orb or Fireball or Lightning. The Static Nova is the best for normal by far. But if the build just does not interest you, the traditional Fireball build is also a solid choice. It does great damage and has pretty decent AoE. The main drawback is that for 12 levels, you have to use Firebolt, which is very tedious because it's a single target skill. However, you can compensate for this by simply carrying gas potions on your weapon swap. So when you find a boss pack or a big chunk of monsters, throw a gas potion on them and then slowly Firebolt them down. Once you're level 12, use your Fireball. Now, I don't have any cold builds to offer because they're all really bad early on due to either low damage or just simply being single target like Firebolt. So you're really better off running either Fireball or Static Nova first, and then once you unlock Blizzard or Frozen Orb when you're at least level 24, then I recommend respeccing into a cold build. So if any of these builds interest you, I made them in an image format that you can easily follow, screenshot, or write down. So let's take a look at the Static Nova build first here. So on the left side you have the no respec version, which is what I recommend if you want to save your respecs. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to follow. When you hit level 2, put your point into Charge Bolt. When you hit level 3, put it into Charge Bolt. When you complete the Den of Evil quest, use that skill point that you get as the reward to put into Charge Bolt. You'll want to save your level 4 and 5 skill points because when you hit level 6, you want to pick up both Frost Nova, Static Field, and Telekinesis. From level 7 all the way to 11, you want to grab Static Field, and then once you hit level 12, you want to go straight into Nova until level 17. When you complete the Radamant quest, now you can pick up Frozen Armor with that extra skill, and at level 18, you want to unlock your Teleport. From level 19 and onward, everything goes into Nova, and when you complete Iswal in Act 4, you want to pick up Nova since you are missing 1 point due to grabbing Teleport, and then put your extra points somewhere such as Static Field or whatever you want. For level 30, you pick up 1 into Lightning Mastery and then max out Nova from then on, and once you max out Nova, you want to then max out Lightning Mastery. Now for the respec version, you can see that I go from level 2 to 5 as Charge Bolt, everything in the Charge Bolt until level 6, you pick up Frost Nova to slow monsters, and then everything in the Charge Bolt again. Once you hit level 13, then you want to respec, and you can see here I show exactly what you want to respec into, which is 7 to Static Field, 2 to Nova, and then 1 into some of the support skills. So if you want to run this build, here's what you can kind of follow. It's pretty easy to follow in my opinion. Hopefully it looks okay for you guys, and let's move on to the Fireball build. For the Fireball build, it's pretty simple. You put everything in a Firebolt until level 6, and then you want to pick up 1 into Frost Nova to slow monsters in case you need some defensive protection. And then after that, you want to go all the way to Firebolt again. At level 11, you want to pick up Static Field because this 1 point will help you against boss fights such as Duriel, Mephisto, and Diablo. And then level 12 and onward, you want to go into Fireball. Then you pick up, of course, Telekinesis with Radamant, Teleport at 18, and then everything in a Fireball again. So it's pretty easy to follow. I hope these images are good enough for you guys. Now, let's move on to actually playing the game. So, for normal Act 1, the first thing you want to do as you go through the act is check Charcy whenever you're in town for a socketed cap, armor, and shield. Make sure they are all 2-socketed, because the 2-socketed armor will be used to craft the Stealth Rune Word, which is your best armor and can easily last you until at least level 40 or higher. The 2-socketed shield is going to be used for early resistance, so put diamonds or topazes into the shield to help you against taintids and beetles in the first 2 acts. They deal a lot of lightning damage, but are easily mitigated by simply having a little bit of lightning res. The 2-socketed cap is for countering shamans and venom lords in acts 3 and 4. Their inferno can one-shot you if you don't have any fire resistance, so socketing a 2-socketed helmet with any rals that you find from the countess will help you a lot. Now, if you're going a fire build, you'll want more than just the Stealth Rune Word. You'll also want to check Akara for a 2-socketed staff. You can get a cheap one with no skills on it, or you can take the time to find one with 3 to Fireball, which will cost probably around 40,000 gold. When you have at least 5,000 gold, you'll want to start checking the wands at Akara for 10 FCR. FCR is vital for dealing a lot more damage faster, as well as teleporting faster. So if you find any items with FCR, equip it. The quicker you can reach the first faster caster rate breakpoints, the easier your journey will be. The FCR breakpoints for the source are 9, 20, 37, 63, 105, and 200. The main breakpoint you want to reach for early on is 63, which is pretty easy with a wand, amulet, 2 rings, and a Stealth Rune Word. Once you clear Tristram in Act 1, go to the top left and pick up Wirt's leg from his corpse, and put this in your stash for later. This will be used to open up the Cal level when you defeat Bale in normal. Now this is the big part. When you get to the Black Marsh, you'll want to start doing tower runs. A tower run is simple. You take the waypoint to the Black Marsh, find the Forgotten Tower, and kill the Countess on the 5th floor. The Countess is the best place to find runes we're looking for this early on. Run the tower until you have a Tal rune and an Eth rune to make your Stealth Rune Word. If you're a fire build, you'll also want to kill her until you have a Tear rune and Ral rune to make your Leaf Staff. Remember to socket the rune words in the orders that they are shown. Tal and Eth for Stealth Rune, and Tear and Ral for the Leaf Rune Word. Also, when you're in the tower, make sure to check any chests and burials, as they have a high chance to drop jewelry. When you return the Heraldric Malice, you can actually turn a normal item with no sockets into a rare item. The stats on the rare item depends on the level of your character though, so I recommend saving the Imbue quest reward for when you're a higher level. Personally, I like to save it until Hell mode, and then use it on a circlet, boots, or tier 2 belt. The first thing you want to do when you reach Act 2 normal is to buy a belt from Farah to replace your sash with an extra row of potions. Next, hire a new mercenary from Gray's at the top of Loot Ghislaine, and then equip him with a polearm, preferably a scythe from Farah due to the attack speed and still having decent damage. Act 2 mercenaries are by far the best, as they deal the most damage, can tank for you, and provide an aura that buffs you. As a sorceress, I recommend picking up a combat for the prayer aura healing, or defensive for the defiance aura defense boost. As you go through Act 2, keep checking Farah for a 3-socketed large shield or 3-socketed kite shield. This will be used to make the Ancient's Pledge rune word when you get to Act 5, which has a lot of resistances which you will need for Nightmare and Hell mode. You can also shop and stash a 2-socketed shield if you want to make a rhyme later for an extra bit of magic find. When facing Duriel, give yourself and your mercenary a thawing potion or 2 before entering the chamber. The increased cold resistance from the potion will allow your mercenary to tank him much longer for you, just so you can static him down. As a sorceress, no matter what build you choose, you should have at least 1 into static field to make all of the boss fights easy. When you first enter Act 3, Heratli should be right beside you. Buy a pole axe from him if your mercenary does not have a good weapon. As you progress through Act 3, check Ormus for a wand with 20 FCR. If you don't have any good luck and he just doesn't sell you one by the time you get to Act 4, you can still shop a 20 FCR wand in Act 4 and 5 as well. When facing Mephisto, many of his spells can one-shot you, so you'll probably want to keep reviving your merc the moment he dies. His spells take a lot of time to cast though, and are very predictable, so with the right rhythm, you can actually static a few times, dodge his attack, cast a few more, and then dodge it again, and just repeat until he dies. So Mephisto is a little predictable, but if you want to be safe, keep your mercenary alive, and he should be even easier. For Act 4, there isn't a whole lot to really say until you get to the Chaos Sanctuary at the end of the act. Vizier, the top left Seal Guardian, is immune to fire, so if you're the Fireball build or any other fire build, you're going to need your mercenary to kill him. Diablo is pretty easy for a Sorceress. Just like Diablo and Mephisto, slow him with the Frost Nova and static while your mercenary distracts him. Just be ready to move in an instant when he targets you with his Lightning Breath. The Lightning Breath can kill you instantly if you're not paying attention, so you always have to be ready to be on the move. When you first get to Act 5, don't buy anything. The cost of everything in Act 5 is doubled when you first get there, until you complete the first quest. So you'll want to go back to Act 4 to buy your potions and scrolls. When you complete the first quest, the item prices go back to normal, and you'll unlock the ability to socket an item, which I recommend saving for later. The second quest gives you 3 runes, Ral, Ort, and Tal, which are the exact runes required to make the Ancient's Pledge in a 3-socketed shield. So take your 3-socketed shield and put the Ral, Ort, and Tal in that order, and you'll have a nice shield with a high amount of resistance. When you rescue Anya, make sure to speak to her to get a random rare Sorceress Wand. If you're lucky, the Sorceress Wand might actually get 20 FCR on it, which is the main reason you want it. If not, maybe it's better than your current weapon, otherwise it's free gold. When you reach the Yariat Summit, make sure to leave your town portal just outside in the Ancient's Way. Activating the Ancient's fight removes all town portals in the summit area. If you open a TP during the fight as well, the fight will stop and reset, and you'll have to do it again. So you want your TP to be just outside of the summit in case you die. The Ancients cannot be frozen either, but as long as you give your mercenary a healing potion or 2, he should be able to survive the damage while you static them down. Once you defeat the Ancients, continue on and teleport to the Worldstone Keep level 2 waypoint. Now, at this point, if you're not level 25 and you're not running the Static Nova build, I recommend clearing Tombs in Act 2 or the Flare Jungle, Great Marsh, Temples, and Travancore in Act 3 until you're level 25. If you're running the Static Nova build and you're not level 25, you can still continue on and kill Baal, because honestly, the Static Nova build is so strong that it's really actually worth killing Baal early on, so you can unlock the Secret Cow level, which is the fastest way to level 225. So again, if you're not the Static Nova build, go in Tomb or do Act 3 until you're 25. You'll then get experience from Baal runs. If you're the Static Nova build, just kill Baal anyway, and then unlock cows and hit level 25 there. When you get to the throne room, just beware of the Death Lords in there because they cannot be frozen and they can kill you instantly. Once you've cleared the room of monsters, Baal will laugh and a wave will spawn. The first 2 waves are pretty easy to deal with Static Field, but the 3rd wave boss is Lightning Enchanted, so you'll have to static down the minions until the boss is alone. Once he's alone, revive your mercenary and keep him alive with potions. He should be able to kill the boss along with your Static Field, and then after that you should have the 4th wave, which is really easy, and then the 5th wave is much harder as it deals serious damage and can stun you, so you'll have to kite with the Frost Nova. If you find them too difficult, zigzag to keep them grouped up, and then drag them out of the room. Once you're far enough out of the room, quickly teleport all the way back up. When there aren't any monsters in the main room, Baal will actually proceed to the next wave, so it's a neat little trick you can do if a wave is too difficult. Just make sure that none of them follow you back into the room, otherwise it's not going to work. As for Baal, just simply drink a few thawing potions to reduce his knockback damage and static him just outside of his deadly melee attack. Other than that, you should have Baal down, and now you can open the Secret Cow level in normal by cubing a Tomb of Town portal with a Wurt's Leg in Act 1. The next thing you want to do is actually make the Cow level, because it's important to pick up a 4-socketed sword. Any crystal sword, broadsword, or longsword that drops in the Cow level is guaranteed to get 4 sockets from your Act 5 quest. This is used to make the Spirit Rune Word later, which is by far the best weapon early on for casters. Just keep in mind, an actual 4-socketed sword cannot drop in the Cow level. You have to pick up a regular one and then use your socket quest on it. Now, it's important I mention that the Spirit Rune Word is a ladder-only item, so if you're on single player or non-ladder, don't use your socket quest on a sword since you can't make Spirit anyway. Now, at the time of this guide, D2R has not had its beta yet, so it's still possible D2R single player will have ladder rune words available. We'll just have to see, because it's a really popular request, and hopefully Blizzard actually listens to the community and implements missing features into single player with D2R. So you've got your Ancients done, and you're at least level 25. The final step in normal is to kill Bale if you haven't, and of course continue doing Bale runs until at least level 30. If you're on single player, Eldritch runs are also an option because of how quick and efficient they are. During your Eldritch and Bale runs, make sure to check Mala for a wand with lower resist charges. Make sure it doesn't say 1 to lower resist Necromancer only, it has to say charges. So this wand makes a great weapon for your weapon swap because the lower resist curse significantly boosts your damage. Just keep in mind it's expensive to repair, so use it wisely in Nightmare and Hell. Now, once I'm level 32 or 33, I jump into Nightmare, but if you're a newer player, you might want to go around 36 or 37. Normal Bale runs can get you easily into the level 40s, even up to level 50, so it's really up to you if you want to stay in Normal for a long time, and then transition into Nightmare. So now that we're done with Normal, we need to respec into a better build suited for Nightmare and Hell mode. If you're magic finding or playing in a party online, Blizzard is the best build due to its insane damage and large AoE. But if you're playing solo, such as single player, you're going to have to skip a lot of monsters due to the amount of cold immunities. With the right finesse, you can still get through Hell mode as Blizzard, but honestly, it's such a pain that I just recommend going Meteorb instead to help your experience. With the Meteor build, you focus on Frozen Orb first in Nightmare instead of Blizzard. And then you go into Meteor and Fireball later when you're a much higher level. By going 2 elements, you will be able to kill most monsters in Hell difficulty, making your Hell experience both easier and more enjoyable, especially as a new player if you're going through for the first time. Once you've beaten the game on Hell difficulty, you can switch to Blizzard if you want, and then begin your fast-paced magic finding. So here's the image format I created for both the Blizzard and the Meteor builds. If you want to go Blizzard, I have it here in that case, but I still recommend going Meteor first and then respecking after you beat Hell Bale. So with the Blizzard build, if you absolutely insist on respecking going into Nightmare, you want to respec 1 into Telekinesis, 1 into Teleport, 7 into Static Field, and 1 into Frozen Armor. After you've done that, you want to max out Blizzard until you cannot put any points into it. Cold Mastery is the next one until you get as close to 100% as you can. Now the next thing you can do is either put the rest of the points into Ice Blast, or what I like to do, put it into Ice Blast until I have about 4 or 5 left. And then you want to save those 4 or 5 points until you level up, so you can put 1 into Blizzard and 1 into Cold Mastery at the same time. Then, after Ice Blast is maxed, Blizzard is maxed, and Cold Mastery is at 100%, you can max out Glacial Spike and then Ice Bolt last. For the Meteor build, it's a little bit simpler. 1 into Telekinesis, 1 into Teleport, and 1 into Static Field as well as Frozen Armor. Then you want to max out Frozen Orb and Cold Mastery until 100% piercing. Then, just like the Blizzard build, you want to hang on to your spare points until you level up. Once you level up, you'll have extra points to put both into Frozen Orb and Cold Mastery. So once your Cold Mastery is at 100%, you can put everything into Frozen Orb, and then once that's maxed, then you can move on to Fire. There you want to go right into Fireball or Meteor, depending on what you want to go first, and then you want to max the second one after. I like to go Fireball first, so I will max out Fireball with 1 into Fire Mastery, and then I'll go into Meteor afterwards, and then I'll max Fire Mastery. So around level 78 or so, you'll have Fireball, Meteor, and Frozen Orb maxed. Cold Mastery will be at 100% piercing, and Fire Mastery might have like 2 or 3 points into it. So the only thing worth mentioning about Act 1 in Nightmare is the Countess, since she drops the runes we want for our next 4 rune words. Spirit is a rune word crafted by socketing Tal, Thal, Ort, and Amn into a 4-socketed sword or shield. If you can make this, it's by far the best weapon that you will have access to until you kill at least Hellbale, unless you're extremely lucky. It is a ladder only rune word though, so if you're non-ladder or on single player, skip this item since you can't craft it. Lore is a rune word crafted by socketing Ort and Soul into a 2-socketed helm. It's a great early on helmet for the 1 to all skills, the lightning resistance, and damage reduction. Rhyme is a rune word crafted by socketing Shale and Eth into a 2-socketed shield. I recommend using this on your weapon swap for magic finding, and still using the Ancient's Pledge for the extra resistances, at least until you get a lot more later on through other items. Insight is a rune word crafted by socketing Ral, Tyr, Tal, and Soul into a 4-socketed polearm. Keep in mind, Insight cannot be crafted in spears, which is a common rookie mistake. It has to be a polearm. This is a great weapon for your mercenary early on due to its high damage and meditation aura, which significantly boosts your mana regeneration. Insight is a ladder only rune word though, just like Spirit, so if you're a non-ladder or single player character, skip this item since you can't craft it. Personally, I'd like to get to Nightmare Act 5 first before I even consider doing Countess runs, because some of those runes might actually drop along the way. But if you prefer to get the gear early on, to make your Nightmare journey easier for yourself, you can simply farm Countess, it's not that big of a deal. You'll want to keep an eye out for a 3-socketed armor, 3-socketed helmet, and a 4-socketed polearm as you go through Nightmare as well. The 3-socketed armor will be used to craft a treachery for your mercenary later when you find a Lem rune. The 3-socketed helmet is a huge boost to your magic find when you socket it with 3 perfect topazes. And the 4-socketed polearm is used to craft your mercenary's insight. When you get to Nightmare Act 2, you'll want to replace your normal Act 2 mercenary with a Nightmare Defensive Act 2 merc. The Nightmare Defensive merc has the Holy Freeze aura, which passively slows enemies around him, basically making him a moving Frost Nova. For Act 3 and 4, there's nothing worth mentioning, but in Act 5, the Nightmare Ancients, you have to be at least level 40 in order to complete the quest. The Ancients can easily one-shot you, so it's really important to have your mercenary distract them. If he does end up dying, kite with Frozen Orb. Remember to use your lower resist wand to increase your static and orb damage on these hard bosses. Be careful of souls and dolls when you're teleporting to Baal's throne room. The souls can one-shot you if your lightning resistance is low, and the dolls explode when they die, so keep your distance and use your mercenary to keep them at bay. If you get a throne room with cold immune witches, just simply leave and make a new game until you get a throne room without them. At this point, you should have no problem defeating Baal and his minions. You'll want to continue doing Nightmare Baal runs until at least level 65. If you're not comfortable with your current gear, you can also stick around in Nightmare and farm Mephisto, Diablo, and Baal. Some of the key items you can magic find are the Viper Magi, Moses' Blessed Circle, Dwarf Star, Ravenfrost, Duriel's Shell for your mercenary, Rockstopper, and of course, from Diablo and Baal, we have the amazing Oculus Orb, and we have from Baal the Shaco. So it's really up to you if you want to keep farming them until you find some of these items, but honestly, you can still go right into Hell mode with the current gear you have. So when you're ready to go into Hell mode, this is roughly what your gear is going to look like. So in this case here on the Sorceress, I decided to magic find a little bit. You can see here I did find the Oculus here, but if you don't have this, you can use the Spirit Sword or keep using your 20 FCR wand if you have it. For the armor, I had the stealth item until I found a Viper Magi. I think I found this off Nightmare Mephisto if I remember correctly. And then of course up here we have the Magic Find helmet I was referring to. We have a Magic Find amulet, and we have also a Magic Find ring, and another Magic Find ring, Magic Find gloves, and Magic Find boots with a little bit of resistance. So you can see here that you don't really actually need a lot of amazing items. Oh, also the Moses' Blessed Circle I should mention as well. It gives a lot of resistances here, 63. So I would say, honestly, you can actually go through Hell mode with little gear. Whatever you have from Nightmare Baal, you can go right into Hell mode. But if you want to play extra safe, the 2 specific items I recommend finding first are the Viper Magi and the Moses' Blessed Circle. For my mercenary, I have a Shaft Stop, which I found in Hell Act 2, giving him 30% damage reduction. He has a Tal Rasha's helmet, I believe I found in Nightmare. This gives him Life Leech and Resistances, and his weapon simply gives him Life Leech and a little bit of attack. So the main thing you want from your mercenary, if you're going to gear him for Hell mode, is to give him Life Leech so he can survive tanking, say, your Ancients, your Mephistos, your Endariels. So giving your mercenary a lot of tanky items is a great way to allow you to freely damage down hard, difficult bosses. So that's what my gear looks like going into Hell mode. Again, you can actually go into Hell mode with a lot worse gear. So most of Hell mode shouldn't be an issue as long as you have good resistances and are careful with your teleports. Travancore is usually the first big challenge for sorceresses due to the amount of damage as well as all the immunities. The first thing you want to do is kill any Hierophants nearby so they don't instantly heal council members to full from a mile away. Make sure to clear out the outside area as well, so you can safely leer 1 or 2 out at a time, and then you can cast Meteor or Frozen Orb on them, or even into the room from the outside. So if you're outside on the step, you can actually cast in and they won't come after you. There should be 1 council member left alive that is immune to both cold and fire, so this is where you're going to need your mercenary to kill him while you keep him stunned with your telekinesis. The next challenge is the Chaos Sanctuary in Act 4. The Seal Guardians, Lord of Seas, and Infector of Souls will often spawn immune to both cold and fire. Because of this, you'll want to teleport straight to their seals, spawn them to see if they're both immune to cold and fire, and if one of them is, you have to leave the game and repeat the process until both of them are immune to either one fire or one cold. It took my source only a few attempts to get Infector of Souls vulnerable to cold and Lord of Seas vulnerable to fire. At this point, you should be able to clear the Chaos Sanctuary and kill Diablo. The Hell Ancients is probably the most difficult fight in the game as a sorceress due to the immunities and just how much damage they can deal. So before you start, you may want to drop a bunch of extra potions just in case you need them. When you spawn the Ancients, quickly check and see if any of them are immune to both cold and fire. If any of them are, make a town portal to reset them. Once all 3 of them are not immune to both cold and fire, now you want to check them for magic resistant, spectral hit, and fire enchanted. If they have at least one of those, they are going to take much less damage from your spells. If none of them are lightning enchanted, your mercenaries should be able to live if you're fighting one at a time. Once you've got good affixes, drag them to the bottom left of the summit and then teleport to the other side really quickly. If none of them follow, slowly walk towards the area in the bottom left until you aggro one of them. If more than one aggro, group them up again and repeat the process. Your mercenaries should be able to survive just one at a time, but if you can't, you might have to bug them out. So you can actually get Madoc and Korlik stuck to make them easy kills, but Talak is going to be the hardest probably. With the right positioning on this pillar here on the bottom right of the summit, Madoc will get stuck throwing his axes into the pillar, which will allow you to safely hit him with either your meteor or firewall. With Korlik, place your cursor on the specific brick right here that you can see on the map, on the ground, and then teleport there. When Korlik goes to leap on you, teleport behind the top left pillar. This will probably take you a good amount of tries, but eventually he will get stuck on the right pillar, and from there you can meteor and firewall just like Madoc. For Talak, you can't actually bug him, but he's actually pretty easy to kite with Frozen Orb. He's only an issue though if he has an extra fast modifier, making his whirlwind super fast and very difficult to avoid. Once you've defeated the Hell Ancients, congratulations, the hard part is over. At this point, the only thing you have to worry about is teleporting into a pack of souls on your way to the throne room. If you get to the throne room, there's not too much to worry about as long as you're playing it nice and slow. Otherwise, really, it's just souls and dolls possibly that can kill you. If there's cold immunities, you might have to leave, but if you are Meteorb, just simply kill them with your fireball. Bale's minions and the throne room shouldn't be too difficult otherwise, and honestly, Bale is pretty easy as well. You just have to make sure your cold res is up through gear and thawing potions, and he just takes a little longer. That's it. So once you've killed Hellbale, you've now beaten the game, and you might be wondering what's next. Well, you can either stay Meteor and Fireball and start magic finding anywhere you want, or what most players do, including myself, respec into Blizzard and then magic find in specific areas that are really good for items. So if you're going Blizzard, I recommend Andorial, Mephisto, the Ancient Tunnels, which is found in the Lost City, and the Mausoleum, which is found in the Burial Grounds. These 4 areas are really great for magic finding, and once you get some better gear, then you can possibly respec into something else. I find Meteor and Fireball to be the most fun because you can do Chaos Sanctuary, you can do Bale's Throne Room without issue, you can farm the Frigid Highlands with Eldritch and Shank, but again, if you want to do much faster runs, then Blizzard is the best. But it's really up to you on what you want to go. The only other build that I can see recommending is Lightning if you end up finding 2 Burr Runes for an Infinity, which is ladder only. So if you are on single player, you can't actually craft this. So because of that, Lightning and Fire aren't really worth going. So overall, that's the guide here. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. I hope it found it useful. And I'll see you hopefully on my next video.
I can't carry anymore. Fallen.
I am impressed, mortals. You have overcome the greatest challenge this world has ever faced and defeated the last of the primevals. However, we are too late to save the World Stone. Bale's destructive touch has corrupted it completely. Given enough time, the World Stone's energies will drain away, and the barriers between the worlds will shatter. The powers of hell will flood into this sanctuary and eradicate your people and everything you've labored to build. Therefore, I must destroy the corrupted World Stone before the powers of hell take root. This act will change your world forever, with consequences even I cannot foresee. However, it is the only way to ensure mankind's survival. Go now, mortal. I have opened a portal that will lead you to safety. May the eternal light shine upon you and your descendants for what you've done this day. The continued survival of mankind is your legacy. Above all else, you have earned a rest from this endless battle.